Alright. Chat! What is this? Your favorite movies are CIA propaganda. Wow, I'm so shocked that something like this could possibly happen. Whoa.
There's a version of your favorite films and
Tinfoil
TV
hat?
shows
Oh,
that
yeah,
you weren't allowed to see. Scripts were rewritten, scenes were cut, endings were changed, and characters were altered.
They had stamped top secret on the top and the bottom and the sides in the margins of every single page. And I said,
No
guys,
way.
this is not top secret. This is a Hollywood movie. It's already on video. It's done.
I'm talking children's animations with rewritten endings, comedy films you've never heard of with deleted scenes, superhero franchises built in secretive contracts, and a screenwriter who tried to tell the wrong story and was found dead with both hands missing.
It's not an accident that every Hollywood movie about the CIA is pro-CIA.
This has been running since the 1940s. What started with Walt Disney producing propaganda shorts for the military has now evolved into a formal permanent operation, one that now reaches into the biggest franchises on the planet, and it hasn't stopped expanding from there.
Never guessed.
When John Kiriakou, a CEI whistleblower who went to prison for exposing the torture program, was asked on the Diary of a CEO how the agency would hypothetically design an influence campaign, this was his answer.
You would have to have a goal that would be specific enough that you could actually track the progress to it. It has to be a
You guys are telling me that one of the most penetrative and cultural things that people can consume, even across different countries, that's influenced by the government? What? No way. I never would have guessed that. I'm so shocked.
message. You've got to be able to get
right now.
a specific, well-honed message out there. And the message can be anything. It could be, you know, love the CIA, we're the good guys. It could be support the overthrow of the Iranian government. It could be, you know, any criticism of Benjamin Netanyahu is anti-Semitism. It could be anything you want it to be. You just have to make sure that it's repeated enough.
He mentions a couple of things there that are highly relevant right now. Take Argo, an Oscar-winning film that almost everyone has heard of. The plot follows a CIA officer who poses as a Hollywood producer to smuggle 6 American diplomats out of Iran, all during the 1979 hostage crisis.
Damn.
As you can imagine, the CIA is unambiguously the hero. There's barely a single mention of the CIA's overthrow of Iran's democratically elected government.
Why would they?
Or the installing of a dictator who ruled with a secret police force trained by the CIA. And
Oh god, don't tell them about Saddam Hussein or anything.
given the current conflict in Iran, you could reasonably argue that the public's understanding of who Iran is and how we got there was influenced in part by films exactly like this. During filming, Affleck visited CIA headquarters multiple times, sat in round tables in the director's conference room, and even emailed the agency promising to do the agency proud.
Wow, what? No way.
The CIA had actually been promoting the Argo operation as a suggested movie plot on their own website years before the film was made, and even thanked Affleck publicly on Twitter for the film.
I think the funniest thing about this is that people have the audacity to say like, oh, the Chinese and Russian government, they're so pro-government, you guys. We're not like them. I'm like, okay, buddy.
Affleck said this when interviewed as part of the press tour.
Are there many actors in Hollywood who also moonlight as agents, do you think?
I think there are probably quite a few, yes. I think probably Hollywood is full of CIA agents, and we just don't know it.
But Argo's
I'm
only
sure.
the surface, and you'll be shocked about where exactly the strategy operates in Hollywood, the films it touches, and how smart it truly is. Take the original script for the Hulk. The canon storyline, as per the comic, involved Bruce Banner being transformed after a US military program gone wrong. It also included dialogue referencing Operation Ranch Hand, a real program that sprayed roughly 20 million gallons of chemical herbicides, including Agent Orange over South.
Let me guess, they cut that out completely because it makes the government look bad.
Southeast Asia, poisoning a possible 4 million people. Both details were removed purposefully by CIA advisors. This is according to leaked files seen by The Conversation. They then changed the origin story to a lab experiment gone wrong instead because they couldn't risk anti-government sentiment in a franchise of this size. In the Transformers films, a Pentagon
No, it's just the Russians and the Chinese that do this. Guys, the US government would not, no, they would never do bad things.
liaison inserted specific dialogue
They would
instead of
never
removing
censor.
it.
No.
In one scene just after American troops had been attacked by a deception robot, he added the line "bring him home" to reinforce US military values. Numerous superhero films, including practically the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is the single biggest franchise in history, were all built on this from the ground up. Captain Marvel was granted full Air Force support. The Air Force was advertised in the film on social media before.
Yeah, if you actually look at the comic origins from like the 1940s and 1950s for like superheroes and stuff, they were pretty like anti-government. Yeah. But then, you know, everybody has a price, so to speak.
Marvel had even started marketing it. Captain Marvel and Black Panther were both used directly in recruitment campaigns. The result was a documented spike in female applicants to the Air Force Academy. They literally called it the Captain Marvel effect. On Iron Man, which was massively supported by the Pentagon with $1 billion worth of equipment, there were literally fights on set between the directors and the agency. A Pentagon liaison, Phil Straub, objected to a line in which a military character says, "People would kill themselves for the opportunities I have." The director John pushed back, and soon they were standing on the flight line to Edwards Air Force Base with 200 crew watching. They eventually settled on they'd walk over hot coals, but even then, that didn't make the final cut.
Wow, what a surprise. Government officials having to dictate what they want to do in their movie. They might as well be the director. I mean, honestly, I think it would be more transparent. It would be more funny.
But a much weirder example is Meet the Parents, when Ben Stiller's character walks into Robert De Niro's workplace. In the original script, he finds CIA torture manuals. That was rewritten. Now he finds photos of De Niro meeting Bill Clinton.
Yeah, you can't be too on the nose.
IMDb credits Chase Brandon as a technical advisor and Milt Bearden as consultant CIA on the film, which you can see here. These examples just cover what we know for certain from a leak of 60,000 pages of documents, which confirmed the CIA has been involved in more than 2,500 productions in total. The Pentagon runs something called the Entertainment Media Office, a formal liaison operation that works directly with Hollywood studios. They support studios financially, offer advice on sensitive topics, and lend them—
Yeah, advice on sensitive topics. Please don't say this thing, otherwise we might get really, really upset. Literal propaganda. I don't like how... I don't like how governments in general just try to like hide the fact that they have a bias and that they want to push propaganda. Like, it's a tug of war. Everybody gets influenced by anything. I think Wukong did make people perceive China in a better light because they pushed out a really, really good game. Like, obviously it did. Yeah. That's the fucking point. Yeah, some people are like, oh, well, they were like working with the CCP. It's like, well, they kind of also have to because they have to push their game in their own country. And if it doesn't get greenlit, they can't make money. Yeah.
specialist equipment and prime filming locations.
It is what it is.
In exchange for
like,
permissions, the CIA get to read and approve the script before a single frame is shot. They also have complete veto power, and directors are obliged to follow their word. One Pentagon minder said on record, "If they don't do what I say, I take my toys and go away." A declassified CIA document released in 2019 all but confirms that, logging dozens of meetings between the CIA's Office of Public Affairs and executives from NBC, Time Warner, Viacom, Fox, Paramount, and CAA. The document covers just 2 years, from 2014 to 2016.
And how many
it includes
was that?
lunches, development deals, on-campus filming.
Lunches. You know what's a fun fact or not so fun fact? In America, I know they don't do this in other countries, but because America's healthcare system is so corporatized and capitalized, you know, it's got a lot of, you know, money in it. You will literally have drug companies sponsor lunches, and they'll be like, hey, we'll give you a free nice lunch of, like, I don't know, Chipotle or, I don't know, sushi, whatever the fuck, right? and they'll sit down and be like, so can you like push this drug a little bit to those doctors or like those managers and be like, hey, can you tell them to like, you know, if they have this problem with their body, can you like, you know, they slip them a little, you know, 50 or, you know, the lunch, right? It's like incentive to like, you know, hey, buy our drugs and like push them to customers. And I'm just like, I found this out. Again, I talked to a decent amount of women and a lot of them were nurses because it's a very common practice in with females. And I was like, at a certain point, I was like, how is this allowed? And they're like, because healthcare is extremely corporatized. Like, it's not fun. Like, it's not. It's the same thing with these CIA lunches. They're like, so we'll buy you all lunch and like sponsor you, and you in turn do what we want to tell you. You know.
Approvals and meetings to develop CIA-themed TV shows.
Korea does
the
this as
CIA
well.
has always claimed it merely.
I don't think it's everywhere. I don't think it's everywhere. I think in certain countries it's illegal, but in America it for sure is. I don't know about Korea. You're saying it is. I'll take your word for it. I don't think it's very common in other places for sure.
Answers requests on an as-needed basis. The document shows active outreach. The agency is going to the studios, not the other way around. But you have to stretch back much further to find out when this all began. Because when one of George Orwell's most important works was adapted into a movie, the CIA had the final say over its closing moments. That film is Animal Farm, a classic anti-establishment story about rebelling against power. After Orwell died, the film's rights to Animal Farm were purchased by two men, and both were undercover CIA agents. This was in 1954, the height of the Cold War and the Red Scare, when the fear of communism was at its peak. The CIA funded the entire animation. They hired British animators, deliberately avoiding American studios to create distance and because the agency distrusted Hollywood animators during the Red Scare.
And what did they do?
And they rewrote the ending. In Orwell's book, the animals look through the farmhouse window and can't tell the pigs from the humans. The line says, quote, the creatures outside looked from pig to man, and from pig to man, and from pig to man again. But already it was impossible to say which was which. This is the whole point. Revolution replaces one set of oppressors with another. Capitalism and communism are equally corrupt. The CIA...
It was basically an analogy for... to what America's been doing for years, and other countries, because they want power, because humans are corrupt, and they want infinite power everywhere and control over everybody, because they want people to see their point of view.
They couldn't have that message going out.
But this was like in what, the 30s? Yeah, 1930s.
So their version ends with the animals triumphantly overthrowing the pigs in a second revolution. Communism bad, rebellion good, America wins by implication.
Yeah.
See, watch how they storm the building and how it doesn't imply the same message as the book at all. It's subtle, but the new version reinforces the division between good and bad. It creates a moral precedent that
my side is good.
Systems can be overthrown and replaced with something better, which is a really comforting thought, unless you realize it's exactly the story the CIA tells every time it topples a government.
Yep, and they do that because they want to be the good guys. And again, it's just funny because at the end of the day, people literally, they'll think it's for the greater good. And I know it's funny and kind of sad to think about this, but I've also talked to people who were like in the military and they realize like what they're doing is bad, but it's like, what am I gonna do about it? And that's also like part of the game, right? It's like you feel powerless even if you become self-aware and say like, oh, I did bad things, or I was in the military and I literally bombed people. It's like, what am I gonna do? I did it for the greater good. Oh, well, maybe the greater good wasn't worth it. And then it's like, it's also like a psychological thing.
Orwell's ending says the opposite, that power corrupts regardless of who holds it, and that revolution just replaces one set of oppressors with another. The director, Joy Batchelor, strongly opposed the change. So, the CIA threatened to pull finance.
To be fair, communism is evil and capitalism is good. I don't think one is better than the other. I think you're literally just proving... I think you're proving the point. I think you're proving their point, guys. I don't think one is inherently better than the other. I think that, you know, people pissing into fucking bottles at Amazon and people owning billions and billions of dollars and being Epstein being a literal pedophile and being protected. I don't think that's a good thing either. I think none of it is like great or better or like, I don't know. We're getting into politics. I don't want to fucking get into it, but I don't think there's like one strict answer that's like, this is the good side, this is the bad side.
The intelligence officer E. Howard Hunt, who later became involved in the Watergate scandal, said the film was, quote, carefully tweaked to heighten
I'm just gonna get mansplained by Chant, like, unironically, because I'm a woman. I don't know any better. Even though my parents lived through communism, I wouldn't know any better. I know, I get it. You guys think you know better? I get it. I understand.
Anti-communist message. Although it was originally aimed at adults, Animal Farm found its primary audience in school over the US and Europe. By then, the state and media were already deeply intertwined. Governments had correctly identified that the media was the best way to access the minds of the public. Generations of children were shown a CIA-funded film with a CIA rewritten ending, as if this was a faithful adaptation of Orwell. So you may not be surprised to learn.
Well, people also didn't read the actual book. They just went to watch the movie, and that's not really the public's fault either.
And that Disney was the testing ground for how effective propaganda could be. While it might be hard to believe today, Disney was actually going broke, and the government offered it a deal. They accepted, and within 2 years...
And by the way, people are gonna be like, oh, well, America is like totally capitalist, and it's totally like good and stuff. Actually, I would argue America is kind of fucking imperialist, to be honest with you. Yeah, I would argue it's very imperialistic. Yeah, sure. I would say capitalism is better in the sense that, like, yeah, you have a choice, you can dig yourself out of it, and, you know, communism doesn't really have that option, but, yeah, I don't know. Imperialism isn't great either. Yeah, it's not.
Over 90%.
What the fuck do I know? I'm an anime girl. I'm a woman. I'm not gonna argue this. At the end of the day, people are also gonna be like, "Oh, well, Alana, you don't know any better." It's like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever you say. I'm a woman. Yeah, I understand.
Of Disney's output, mostly propaganda, was government content.
Pseudo-imperialistic? What do you mean pseudo-imperialistic? Did we not just fucking absolutely rape Venezuela and take their oil? Like, I'm sorry. I didn't think this would like be so divisive, but like I feel like I'm trying to make a point, okay? What do you mean pseudo-imperialistic? What?
On their way into all sorts of government materials, including 1,200 military insignia. Walt Disney even personally designed this terrifying Mickey Mouse gas mask, all to make children less afraid during air raids. If you look at Disney films through the ages, like Snow White, The Incredibles, and Frozen, they're often said to carry some level of deliberate messaging.
Oh yeah, The Incredibles did for sure, 100%, because the superheroes are first viewed as helpful, and then they're changed into being evil.
In a conversation between Theo Von and Robert Greene, the guy who wrote the 48 Laws of Power, Greene said they offer a singular worldview that runs through most Western mainstream media. While modern society came to describe this phenomena as woke, the more important aspect is the consent it manufactures.
And what angered me about Hollywood, you know, people pretending to be these liberal, wonderful people in favor of all the best causes out there to create art. What bullshit. They wanted power. They loved having the power over people. You know, they would drop the woke stuff tomorrow if they could make more money doing something else. It's just about what's going to bring the bucks in.
A bald man once said, if the Germans won, we would all be saying certain things, and that I will not repeat on stream because I don't think that. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it all depends on the outcome of the worldview of the people who have more money, more power than all of us. I'm a plebeian. You're all plebeians. I'm a peasant. We're all beneath them. We don't fucking matter. We don't. Like, at the end of the day, we're nothing to them, right? Yeah, history's it's written by the winners. It doesn't matter. Yeah, so we could be speaking German. That's a better analogy. You know what I'm saying? What's a plebeian? Like, basically like cattle. Like, anyone who's like just a serf. Because at the end of the day, we pay our taxes, or at least most of us do, and it is what it is.
Someone upstream
It's a
decides what the
big
acceptable
club and we're
worldview
not
is, and
in
the
it,
media
yeah.
is passed accordingly. The Pentagon did it with military values. The CIA did it with anti-communism. Hollywood does it now with whatever sells. The product always looks like entertainment and not ideology. These are films watched.
Yeah, because it's fun. You don't. This is kind of the beauty of, or not the beauty, but like that's kind of like the thing with propaganda is that you don't realize you're consuming it. It's real propaganda. You will enjoy it and be entertained without realizing that you're being propagandized to, or whatever, like propagandized or catered to, I suppose.
by billions, not just in the West, but
Yeah.
worldwide. So this is also a matter of the image the world superpowers want to project.
Exactly.
Soft power has always mattered enormously to the West. Huge military, invincible
To everyone. China, Russia does it. Everybody does that. Yeah, it's all about how much money you have so that you can push your propaganda.
superheroes, perfect moral values,
Exactly.
intelligence agencies that can do anything they please and always win. Now, you might be wondering what happens if someone breaks ranks and goes against the grain. Whether it's possible to subvert the CIA and inform the public
You don't
of the
think you're
truth.
Fairfang.
Well,
You've
there has been
1,000
at least one
ladies,
occasion when
man.
someone tried to do exactly that. He was Gary DeVore, a Hollywood screenwriter with major credits on Schwarzenegger's Raw Deal, Christopher
Whoa.
Walken's The Dog of War, and Backroads with Tommy Lee Jones and Sally Field. He was deep into a script idea that even his own
I mean, one of the most obvious ones that I thought was kind of funny, and I never hated it. Never get me wrong, I love being in America, and I understand the conditions I'm living in, and that I am but a cog in like multi-million person cog in a wheel, right? I can criticize something and still appreciate aspects that make me allow. Like, I'm allowed to stream. I'm allowed to go to school. I'm allowed to take out a loan. I'm allowed to take out a credit card. Like, a lot of those things aren't things that people saying like Cuba or Venezuela can do, and I can appreciate it, but still be critical of something that I think is a problem. Yeah, like I think that's the beauty of it too.
wife didn't fully understand until after he was gone.
When I first moved in with Gary, he said to me, "Don't be alarmed if you get a call from a person from a government agency.
He said that to his wife?
Just take their name down and their number and don't be worried about it."
Oh!
In the first 4 years, there were 2 calls. And then, not too long before he actually disappeared,
She's pretty.
there were several from the CIA at Langley.
It was called The Big Steal, set during the US invasion of Panama. A friend of his, Hollywood director
Panama.
John Irvin, had lunch with Gary a few weeks before he disappeared. He could tell that something was off.
He was troubled. Something was
Troubled.
bothering him.
Oh, he knew.
He wasn't
He knew the walls were closing in, chat.
really in the conversation. He was having trouble with the script he was writing, which he talked about more about not the script, but about a government very, very sensitive, inconvenient truth. He was speaking more as a journalist than he was as a screenwriter. He was talking as an investigator.
A researcher who later investigated the case, called Dr. Matthew Alford, eventually uncovered what Gary had found, and it's really dark.
The dictator of Panama, Manuel Noriega, made secret recordings in wired rooms of senior US officials
Whoa.
having sex with underage prostitutes,
Jesus Christ.
male and female.
Whoa!
One British newspaper commented on this, and the story was
British.
buried. And the guy who wrote it got shot by an anonymous sniper.
Gary planned to put that in a Hollywood
Holy
film.
shit.
He was driving home through the desert, and then
No, guys, we can't do that. We can't show people the truth. The original Epstein. I got news for you guys. There's been Epsteins for like thousands of years. I'm gonna be real. Yeah. Like, I don't want to be doom-pilled, but like, it is what it is, man. It's fucked.
that was the last
Yeah, it's
anyone
not the
heard
first, it
from
won't
him.
be the
he
last.
said,
I'm
"I'll
sure an
see you
Epstein
later."
will pop up in
I
100
never
years
heard from him
again
again.
when we're all
It's
dead.
like Gary DeVore simply vanished into thin air.
There was a massive search, foot patrols, helicopters, $100,000 reward, but
Oh my
zero leads
God.
and no witnesses. He was missing for 374 days, but then his Ford Explorer was found beneath 15 feet of muddy water at the bottom of the California aqueduct. Despite the aqueduct having been searched extensively, his laptop containing the script was missing, his gun was missing, and his hands were missing.
They chopped his hands off? That was definitely to send a message. You don't have to do that. Just shoot him in the back of the head, you know, and tell him he killed himself. That was a message. He chopped his own hands off! He chopped his own hands off, you guys!
He had his fingers removed. Why?
Why?
Yeah,
In my own mind, feel that there is crime here. I do not feel that my husband drove off of this bridge.
Within a week of his disappearance, agents from the FBI, CIA, NSA, and DoD arrived at the family home. After an official went into his office, his computer was wiped. And here's an unlikely connection to meet the parents in other films years later. It was Chase Brandon, the CIA's entertainment industry liaison officer, who was among those at the scene. When Alfred started digging into the case years later, he received a warning to stop what he was doing and leave well alone.
You know, of course, you've received an informal or semi-formal warning from a CIA and DoD contractor who said to you, back off the CIA, you're going too far with this now. These people can and will ruin your life and come knocking on mine and your doors.
A former White House official from the Reagan and George Bush administrations confirmed that DeVore harbored a deep-rooted relationship with the agency and conceded the case has the hallmarks of a cover-up. The CIA declined to comment on the entire situation, and the case officially remains open. So that's the other side of the coin. What potentially happens when the CIA's veto isn't obeyed? We don't really know the truth of what happened, but it does show you that you should mess around with topics not sanctioned by the agency. As for the
chop your hands off, let you know what happens to people that don't obey them.
Impacts this all has on society, Theo and Joe Rogan were very perceptive about how it can change public perception.
So in World War I, one of the problems that they had was people didn't want to be over there killing people. And so people were shooting, but they weren't shooting at the actual enemy. And so then they realized, well, we've got to do something about that. And so after that, they started creating all these really patriotic war movies where the guys are heroes, they go over and they shoot all the bad guys, and then they're
Art is very influential, extremely.
awesome. So then the next group of people that go to war are all going to be indoctrinated with these films.
John Kiriakou thinks that nowhere has that indoctrination been more effective or more dangerous than in warming the population up to the idea of torture.
The thing that bothers me the most.
He's not wrong, really. Yeah. You
when-
desensitize them. You desensitize them.
And Hollywood perpetuates the myth that torture prevented acts of terrorism or disrupted acts of terrorism. And
That's
to
smart.
me,
That's
that
smart.
myth is
It's fucked
dangerous
up, but it's smart.
in that it affects public opinion. You can put whatever euphemism you want on it. You can call it enhanced interrogation technique. I don't care what you call it. What we did to some of those people was
But then you can argue. You can also argue and say that him saying that also makes people be like, oh, well, if he's saying that and then the CIA is letting him say that, then the CIA are the good guys too. Like, this is all like a psychological play, in my opinion. Not to like shit on him. He's really smart and everything. And I get what he's doing, but like, you could also say that he's doing this and then they're just like saying that he's allowed to say this. We've watched a whole video on like how podcasts can be like a ploy for propaganda as well. Yeah.
just illegal.
Kiriakou would know. He's the only CIA officer who ever went to prison over the torture program.
That's what they make you think. That's right.
I objected to the CIA's use of so-called enhanced interrogation techniques, which I believe to be torture. And I went public with that information in December of 2007. All this time, by the way, I'm waiting for somebody to come out and say something. And nobody said anything. As a result, I was prosecuted and served 30 months in prison. But I'm glad I did.
I think he's a plant too, but he's saying the truth. I don't think what he's saying is a lie. It's just that he's desensitizing the public to the idea that the CIA does these things, aka for the greater good, in a sense, and you know they're letting him talk, and they're the nice guys because they put him in prison, but then they were like, ah, geez, yeah, like I think there's like a merit to it. I think there's a merit to it, yeah. At least Pippa guided him away from Hassan. What I think is like, actually, I do think like they do not like Hassan. I don't think so. I think that guy's flying way too fucking close to the sun with the shit that he says. Like, I'm all for criticizing, but like, holy fuck, some of the fucking shit he says is insane. I'm not gonna go into it because then it'd be a fucking Asmongold stream, but like, you know what I'm saying? It's actually fucking batshit insane.
Somebody had to do it.
This is especially true in the film Zero Dark 30, which is about capturing Osama bin Laden. John Kiriakou thinks it's the strongest example of making the CIA look clean from every angle.
Zero Dark 30.
Whoa.
So Zero Dark 30, I think,
Academy
is
winning
the most
writer.
egregious example of CIA interference in Hollywood.
The CIA gave the filmmakers classified briefings over a classified mock-up of the bin Laden compound. The film essentially pushed at the torture program as what led them to bin Laden. Kiriakou says that's a complete lie.
This was a film that the CIA made a policy decision on that it was going to cooperate fully, to the point where senior CIA officers gave them inappropriately classified briefings over a classified mock-up of the bin Laden compound. Okay, that's chargeable under the Espionage Act. The CIA...
What if he's saying that, but that's actually the truth, but then he's saying that it's a lie, but then it's actually the truth? Whoa. The double cross? Holy.
just turned it over. Why? Because it made the CIA look good.
In real life, intelligence work is
Yeah.
edgy, gruesome, and
Made it
morally
look good,
ambiguous.
but then they're the bad
Mainstream
guys, which
TV and
makes them the
cinema
good
don't need to
guys.
be accurate. They just need to feel right and not leave
I just don't think that intelligence agencies are that stupid to not like do the double mega cross. Does that make sense? I don't even mean like CIA in general. I think KGB, I don't know what the fuck the Chinese do. I think like they all play the game and we're just fucking pawns. We're all stupid idiots. Yeah, and we believe them. Yeah, I'm being serious. I'm not being facetious. This is not a bit. I think we're all stupid and we're all just playing their inside of their little chess game.
the audience with too many lingering questions or ambiguity. They pick up on this exact point in the podcast.
Even though they are torturing
Super
people.
serious.
Now, entire population is so kind of almost like brainwashed into, but they are good guys, so torture is okay,
Right.
as long as good guys are doing it.
Well, that was the narrative.
And they've got so desensitized towards doing bad shit. And if it's the CIA or if it's Tom Cruise or if it's like Mission Impossible and they're doing bad shit and they're torturing people, that's okay. Like now the message is that's okay, you don't worry about it.
So desensitization and controlling the narrative are central to this whole strategy, but there are deeper layers than promoting and suppressing films. The CIA's venture capital arm In-Q-Tel, literally named after Q from James Bond, has been funding tech companies since 1999. Google bought an In-Q-Tel funded mapping startup called Keyhole that became Google Earth. In-Q-Tel and Google then jointly invested in a company that
Pokemon Go, all of the data that we used back in 2016, that's all uploaded and it's very, very useful to every cyber intelligence possible. It doesn't Google Earth not exist in China or something as well? Or like very select few places? They have their own Google Earth. It's obviously like their Chinese version of it. Yeah. Yeah, interesting.
builds predictive analytics by mining web data. Palantir was one of their earliest investments. The CIA had established an entire
Palantir,
directorate of
holy
digital
shit.
innovation specific.
Yeah, Palantir, the fucking name for the Lord of the Rings eyeball. Gee.
Specifically to engage Silicon Valley. So it's all linked together and practically operates in plain sight.
seeing
Theo
Orb, yeah,
Von
the
told
eyeball.
Green a story about bumping into a construction worker at Century City Mall in LA.
Yo, what's up?
Oh.
So I start talking to him, and he's like, dude, guess what we're building? I'm like,
I would honestly argue Palantir is almost as funny as calling like a science lab like fucking having a science lab city called fucking Raccoon City. I'd be like, gee, I wonder what's going on in Raccoon City.
Like, I don't know, I thought maybe
The
it could have
evil
been like a
residents of
Hardee's or
Resident
something.
Evil.
He's like,
Umbrella
we're
Corp,
building
yeah.
like a 20-story building, and 10 floors of it are the CIA, and the other 10 floors are a management company, Hollywood management.
Theo was mixing up the CIA and CAA, Creative Artists Agency, Hollywood's most powerful talent firm, but Green made it sound like the real thing was even worse.
And you go to that building, and they call it like the Death Star.
I feel like it's just dudes being dudes at this point, and they just don't care. The CIA,
are like, politicians who are being represented by CAA, athletes, tech bros, influencers. It's pretty frightening though when you go inside. It's almost like Scientology, Hollywood's version of Scientology.
He's describing high-level ongoing talks at the intersection of the media, government, and big tech, all in a building lovingly called the Death Star. So you can now see how this whole influence campaign is far bigger than cutting lines in Marvel movies.
Guys, I'm creating vaccines. I'm gonna call myself Umbrella Corp. Don't worry, I'm not developing vaccines that turn people into zombies that eat people's faces. Trust me. Trust me, bro.
It relies on cross-collaboration between multiple arms of state and private power, and the product hasn't stopped at the cinema. It's been actively following the audience, which means you, wherever you go, including online.
Do you think the CIA have a strategy for
What are the odds that CIA agents are posing as VTubers? I actually don't think it's that high because VTubers are extremely niche and they're not worth investing into because they're too niche. I don't think they influence that yet. No, I understand yet. I don't know, maybe like in 20 years. I don't fucking know. I'm not clairvoyant, but I don't think it's worth the investment. Burnt peanut is CIA. It's really not, bro. In the East, maybe, I don't know, but I wouldn't say guaranteed. I just don't think so. From an investment perspective, I just don't think it's worth wasting my time.
podcasters?
If I was like fucking CIA,
I think yes, now they do. It took them a little while to get current, but just like they over time developed a strategy with Hollywood, sure, they're developing a strategy with podcasters.
This strategy is consolidating as we
Podcasters are from normies. Of course they're using the fucking, all of their money to pump propaganda into it. It's smart. Yeah, I'm sure China has podcasts. I'm sure Russia has podcasts. All the big fucking, all the big government. That's right.
which will only make it easier for agencies like the CIA to wield greater control over the narratives. Larry Ellison, whose company Oracle now hosts TikTok US algorithm and controls its content moderation, just bought Paramount through his son David. And if their bid
It's all a big gay club and we're not invited, bro. We're all not invited. We're just little piggies on a farm, bro. We're all just fucking bacon fat and we're just turned into burgers, bro.
for Warner Bros. And Discovery goes through, you can add CNN, HBO, Warner Brothers, Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, MTV,
That's
Comedy
insane,
Central,
yeah.
Discovery, TLC,
Look at how much
TBS, and
investment there
TNT
is.
to that list. An internal memo obtained by NPR confirmed the Ellison-led entity will control what's allowed.
His daughter made mixtape. Oh, yeah. The guy that owned Oracle and he gave her like millions of dollars. You're so right. I completely forgot about that. That shit's propaganda too. It's fucking fake and gay. Oh my
And
god.
what's not on the
And
platform.
then they also had the audacity to say that it was like an indie game too, even though it was literally funded by fucking the Oracle's the CEO or the Oracle who's owns like billions of dollars, and then he has a daughter and he gave her like millions. I shit you not, millions of dollars.
form. Bernie Sanders
bought her the
called it
music rights and
oligarchy,
everything, too.
and Oracle, which sits underneath all of this, has held government contracts with the CIA and the Department of Defense for decades. Whatever you call it, the media pipeline is now shorter than it's ever been, and in fewer hands. There's a through line from Donald Duck selling war bonds to Captain Marvel. Selling
Yippee.
Air Force
I can't
recruitment
wait
to
to
Google
sell my
Earth,
war
tracking your
bonds.
location has never been broken.
I'm being a patriot right now.
The methods have evolved: direct propaganda, covert funding, script consultations, structural incentives, venture capital, and digital surveillance. But the principle itself hasn't changed. Get the message right, make sure it's repeated enough, and eventually nobody questions this anymore. And if you've seen what happens when someone steps outside that system, a screenwriter at the bottom of a canal with no hands, a researcher warned to back off before they ruin his life, maybe then you understand why so few people ever try. It's not a theory about Hollywood, but a description of what 60,000 pages of declassified documents confirm has already happened, and
Yeah,
is
and those are the ones they want you to even see in the first place.
still happening to
Yeah.
the stories you grew up on. The truth is, we simply don't know how deep this rabbit hole really goes, how much of the information-rich world around us is real, and how much is fake or manipulated just enough to maintain a thin veneer of authenticity. Like we saw in this recent video we did on the CIA compromising podcasts, the rabbit hole truly goes deep. In any case, the strategies employed by the CIA and the government to influence the media are not theoretical, and they don't spend millions on them for no reason. So ask yourself, when
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think VTubers are mainstream enough to invest into. I just don't think so. Why the fuck would I put $20 million into VTubers and only influence X amount of people? It's very small. I think in the future, very well possible. But sounds like something CIA would say. I mean, if you just put your brain together, Twitch is such a stupid platform to like invest into. It's so tiny. Normies don't fucking watch Twitch.
you're next watching your favorite films and TV shows,
They're
can
not.
you really take them at value? If you think you can, ask yourself for how much longer do you think this will be the case?
God. My God. My God. Ah, just kidding. I'm a CIA agent. I'm a KGB agent. I'm also Chinese. The fucking the DNA is all fake. I'm 25% American. 25% Chinese. I'm 25% purebred American. Caw, caw! And then the 50% is Chinese. Wait, I already wrote Chinese. What's the other 50%? Fat. Yeah, fat. There you go, fat. I'm 50% fat. 50% skill, something, concentrated power of will, double Chinese. 50% fat and retarded. There you go. Oh, man. That's right. All this is fake. And then 4%, woman. 4% woman. There you go. Too many percent? No. It's with a it's with a 4% margin of error. You know what I'm saying?